Let me ask you a question, bro. Are you a consumer or are you a producer? Are you a consumer or are you a producer? You have to answer that question. And I'm going to give y'all some context. Of course, I'm going to always give y'all some context. I want to be a producer. I am a producer. And I'm going to tell y'all this, bro. The producers are the ones that get rich. The producers are the ones that get rich. Anybody that's old enough, because I know it's a lot of young people that's watching this. It's a lot of young people that consume my content. Anybody that's old enough to, well, not young enough, but anybody that's old enough to remember the movie Baby Boy. Baby Boy was created in 2001. It came out in 2001. In Baby Boy, he was talking to his friend and he said, "Hey P, are you a buyer or are you a seller?" "I'm gonna be a seller." Are you a buyer or are you a seller? And that's what you need to ask yourself. Are you a buyer or are you a seller? And I'm gonna tell y'all why this is important for you to know, and I'm gonna tell you why you need to pick your side. The producers are the ones that get rich. The sellers are the ones that get rich. The consumers, all they do is consume. I'm a producer. Instead of me getting up on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and all this other stuff and just consuming content, I said I need to produce content. I'm already using these apps. The difference between, because there's people that have got up under my comments where I've talked about not having social media and stuff like that, right? And they said, "Well, you have social media. You're posting on social media right now." See, the difference between me and a lot of other people, and the difference between people like me, is I produce content. I'm on these apps making money. I make money from these apps. I'm a producer. Now, I'm not saying that everybody has to produce content, but in some way, shape, or form, you have to produce something. Consumers, if you're just a consumer, all you do is buy. All you do is buy music. All you do is watch content. All you do is buy clothes. All you do is rent places. You don't produce or create anything of your own. That's the difference between people that's gonna get it and people that's not. You can't just be a consumer. Consumers, all they do is spend money. They don't spend money, and they don't spend money with ROI in mind. They don't spend money with knowing what this is gonna get me. Like, what return am I gonna get from me spending this money? Do you know why they say? Because you know what? People say, "Oh my God, the rich don't pay taxes. The rich don't pay taxes. The rich don't pay taxes." I'm gonna tell y'all why, and I'm gonna tell y'all the difference. The reason why most of the time rich people or wealthy people don't pay taxes is because they're producers and not just consumers. We all consume, but they produce more than they consume, and I'm gonna tell y'all what I mean by that. Rich people get tax breaks because they do exactly what they want the government. They do exactly what the government wants them to do with their money. And I'm not going to get too much into money, and I'm not going to get too much into taxes because I'm nowhere near a tax expert or anything like that. But this is just the basic fundamental understanding of why rich people don't pay as much taxes. Because they create housing. That's why they invest in real estate. They create housing for people. They produce housing for people, and they create jobs for people. That's why businesses get a bunch of tax breaks, because they're giving jobs, because they're paying people. They are creating. They are producers. What would you do if you got your full check? Let's say you make 50, 60, 70,000, 80,000, 100,000, 150,000, even 200,000 plus a year, and you got your check tax free. Tax free, there was no taxes. You know what most people would do? Most people would consume more. That's why the government take it. The government say, "Give me that." You know why? Because you ain't gonna do nothing with the money anyway, so give me that. Most people will go on more vacations. Most people will buy better cars. Most people will buy better houses. They would not use their money to create. The reason why, because I'm gonna tell y'all, these tax loopholes that people use are available to everyone. And again, I'm not a tax expert or anything like that. I want y'all to go and do your own research. But the people that pay the most in taxes are the consumers. So you gotta figure out whether you wanna be a consumer or you wanna be a producer. I can't just sit up on apps all day, sit up on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and just consume. I said I gotta produce. I can't keep spending money. If you like clothes and you like fashion and stuff like that, and you're spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on clothes, thousands of dollars on drip, when you gonna make your own? I'm not saying that everybody has to create a business. I'm not saying that everybody has to. If you're gonna buy stuff, if you're gonna consume stuff, consume things that are actually gonna add value into your life. Consume some stocks, consume some real estate, consume some crypto, consume some things that are gonna actually help you in your life. But see, the thing is, most people are just consumers, and most people just consume content. They watch content all day. They sit up on TikTok all day, and there's nothing wrong with looking at TikTok. There's nothing wrong with looking at YouTube and stuff like that, but I'm trying to understand, when are you going to be a producer? When are you going to produce? When are you going to create? When are you going to put something out? I'm not saying you got to create clothes. I'm not saying you got to create content, but whatever you're in, you can't just be a consumer alone. You cannot just be a consumer and all you do is consume, buy, because all you're going to be is a buyer. And y'all are the ones that make the sellers rich. I got to be a seller. That's what he said in Baby Boy. For those that remember the movie Baby Boy, and the reason why it made me think of this because I just saw a clip. He said, Pete, as you a buyer, are you a seller? Are you a buyer or are you a seller? We got my man over here selling pies. We got my man over here selling t-shirts. We got my man over here selling this. We got my man over here selling that. And we just standing around broke and all we doing is buying. So you gonna be a consumer or you gonna be a producer? I'd rather be a producer. You can't say nothing about me on social media. Yeah, I'm on social media all day, but guess what? I make money from it. I am a producer. I am a creator. I'm not just out here consuming stuff that is not going to help me in my life. You got to figure out how to add value into the world. That is how you're going to make money. That is how you're going to change your situation. You have to go from being a consumer to a producer. Whatever that looks like for you is how you have to do it. It doesn't matter to me whatever you create. Create something. You have to create some value. But if all you do is buy and be a buyer and just, I gotta buy this, I gotta buy that, I gotta rent this, I gotta rent that, I gotta finance this, I gotta finance that, bro, you're gonna be broke. I'm telling y'all, most people that are broke are only consumers. They don't create any value. They don't create any value in any type of way. They don't create no content, but they sit on TikTok all day. They're buying a bunch of clothes and buying a bunch of drip, but they don't make no clothes. They don't do anything. They don't create anything. As soon as they get their check, what do? They go buy. They go buy and not buy the right things. See, I'm cool with you being a consumer if you're going to consume some real estate and some stocks. But see, the thing is, you creating value. You still a creator because you're creating value. But you can't just be a consumer and that's it. Being a consumer and that's it is going to keep you broke because all you're doing is buying. All you're doing is consuming. All you're doing is watching. That's all you're doing. You're not creating any value of your own. So you have to figure out whether you want to be a producer or you want to be a consumer. Which one you're going to be, because it's your choice. Everybody has the choice. That's the reason why rich people don't pay taxes, because they do what the government wants them to do with the money. They are producers. They produce. They create jobs. They create real estate. That's why I don't cry about what the tax rate is. Because if most people were able to keep their check and all of their check, most people would not be producers. They would just consume even more. So you have to figure, I'm putting y'all on game for, I'm telling you, it's a mindset. I have a producer mindset. I can't just consume, because the producers are the ones that's getting rich. The creators are the ones that's getting rich. All you're doing is watching, consuming, buying, bro. You're making those people rich, and it's nothing wrong with them getting rich. I'm glad they're getting rich. But see, the thing is, I gotta get rich too. You should be wanting to get rich too. Even if you don't want to get rich, you gotta find a way to create some value. You gotta find a way to produce some value that's gonna actually help you in your life. But you can't just be a consumer. You can't be a consumer and a consumer alone. I'm not saying you're never going to consume. I'm not saying that producers don't consume, because we do. I watch other people's content too. Cool, but I make my own too. And I spend more time producing than I do consuming. If I was into clothes and into fashion, I would definitely have my own clothing line or something like that. I gotta figure out a way to make some money off of this. Because if I don't, the next person will. The producers are gonna win. The producers are gonna stay winning. You can't lose being a producer because you're the one that's giving people the things to buy. You're the seller. So you gotta figure out whether you wanna be a buyer or you wanna be a seller. I'd rather be the seller. But see, the thing is, I'm gonna help y'all understand this too, because there's another side to that. Being a seller takes more work. It's easy just to get your paycheck and go consume. It's easy to do that. It's hard to create content. It's hard to create this. It's hard to create that. It's hard to get your money up to invest in this and to invest in that and do all of that. So I'm not saying that it's going to be easy, but you got to figure out what side you want to be on. I'm telling y'all, most of the people that's broke are just consumers. Tell me I'm lying. Show me where I'm lying. I guarantee you, can't nobody tell me where I'm lying. You can't show me people that are broke that are producing that's producing at a high level. You can't. I just don't think they exist. or they just don't know how to manage their money or something like that. But that's a whole different story. But I'm telling y'all, bro, if you're just a consumer, you will stay broke. You will never get ahead in life if all you're doing is consuming. You have to figure out a way to produce some sort of value. Get you a side hustle, get you something, create something. You have to create value. You have to be, that's why I always talk to y'all about being a valuable person. You have to be valuable. That is the difference between being a consumer and being a producer. The producer is the valuable one. The producer is the one that's creating value. The producer is the one that's putting something up there for you to watch. The producer is the one that's creating something for you to buy. The producer is the one going in and buying some real estate so that you can rent the place. The consumer is going to rent the place, buy the place, and not even buy it right. They're going to buy it to just live in. They're going to buy the clothes. They're going to watch the content. They're just going to continue to consume. They're going to continue to buy, and they're going to have nothing to show for it when it's time to show something for it. That's the difference, bro. You gotta figure out whether you want to be a buyer or be a seller. I'm not saying don't buy, because it's things that you gonna buy. I'm not saying that you don't buy anything and that you don't consume anything. That's not what I'm saying, because that's extreme. That's just not even realistic. You're gonna consume, but you have to figure out a way. You have to figure out a way to produce more than you consume. You have to figure out how to produce more than you consume. The producers are the ones that's gonna get rich, bro. It's a mindset. I'm going to create value. I'm going to create something for you to watch. I'm going to create something for you to wear. I'm going to create somewhere for you to live. I'm going to create jobs. I'm going to create. Those are the people that's going to get the money, because the buyers are the ones that's paying. You can say anything. I made a video, bro. I had so many comments. It was a video I probably made about a year ago on this channel where I talked about not having social media and stuff like that. And people were under my comments telling me that I was tripping because I was on social media and I was on this and I was on that. I'm producing. I'm making money. You're watching me. You're up under my comments. That's why. That's the difference. I'm producing. I can sit up on social media all day. But you know why? Because there's an incentive for me. There's money to be made. There's money to be made. There's money to be made. I'm a producer. I'm not sitting up on. Bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I'm not saying that I wouldn't watch content, because there's a lot of content that could help you. But if there was no money to be made in content, I probably wouldn't produce content. I'm gonna be so completely honest with you. Do I love doing it? Absolutely. But the potential of the money and the money, the amount of money that's in this space, whether it's AdSense, whether it's TikTok Creator Fund, whether it's brand deals, whether it's any of that stuff, right? Because I'm gonna tell y'all, I've been getting hit up for them deals. I made a video about me getting a company to reach out to me. Now I'm getting companies reaching out to me offering money. Now they want to collaborate. But see, you know what? You know what I said? I'm gonna hold off. I've been declining them. And you know why I've been declining them? I've been declining them because I'm like, if y'all willing to pay me this right here, what's gonna happen when I get my numbers up? What's gonna happen when I continue to produce? What's gonna happen when I continue to just flourish and my audience continues to grow? What's gonna happen then? It's gonna be more money. So I said, nah, I'm cool. I'm cool. And I ain't lying. I could show it. Like I'm not. I've been having companies hit me up, but I've been like, I'm cool. The money, that ain't gonna do nothing for me. That little money that y'all talking about ain't gonna do nothing for me. But watch when I get my audience up. Watch when I continue to get my numbers up. I'm a producer, and I'm gonna stay a producer. Am I gonna consume some stuff? Yeah, but I am going to produce way more than I consume. And I'm not telling y'all what to do, but I'm gonna tell y'all this. The producers are the ones that's gonna get the money. The producers are the ones that's gonna get rich, because y'all gonna buy it. Y'all gonna watch. Y'all gonna buy. And that's all y'all gonna do. That's why the rich don't pay no taxes. The rich don't pay no taxes just because they just favored. The rich don't pay taxes because they contributing to the economy. And what I mean by contributing to the economy, I don't mean just buy stuff. When they buy stuff, they are buying it to create something. When they're buying real estate, they're buying it to get people to live in. They're creating homes. They're producing homes. They're producing jobs. That's why they get the biggest tax breaks. Not just because they're rich. Because I guarantee you, if you go get a job or you create a company and you make $5 million in a year and you don't do nothing that the government wants you to do, you don't produce no value at all, and all you do is go on vacation to spend money, you can get a big tax bill. They can be like 50-60%, I need that, give me that. You tripping. If y'all are out here thinking that rich people don't pay taxes just because they're rich, you're out your mind. But see, that's the thing, ain't nobody trying to teach nobody the game. I'm having to read and learn the game and understand what's going on. A book that I like, a book that I would recommend is Tax Free Wealth. Tax-Free Wealth by Tom Wheelwright. I think it's Tom Wheelwright, Tax-Free Wealth. I think he's under the Rich Dad umbrella, who is Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, created a book called Tax-Free Wealth. Go and do your own research. I'm not sitting here telling y'all what to do. I'm not a tax advisor. I'm not a tax strategist. I'm not any of that. But I'm telling y'all the basic understanding of the game. It don't bother me. All I can do is try to get myself over to that point where it, like, I'm not paying as much taxes because I am creating. It don't bother me. It don't do nothing to me. I'm not one of these people out here, oh my God, the rich don't pay taxes. The rich don't pay taxes. You got to figure out why that is. Go and do some research and figure out why they don't pay no taxes. They don't pay no taxes because they are producers. You have to figure out how to produce. Not everybody's going to run a business. Not everybody's going to be a content creator. But if you're going to buy things that's going to actually add value into society, will add value into your life. If you're going to be a consumer, go consume some stocks, some crypto, some real estate, and go do something like that. Then you may be able to see something. But if all you do is consume and buy, consume, and you're not consuming the right things, and all you're doing is going on vacations, and I know that's nice, cool. But if that's all you're doing, how do you expect to actually win? How do you expect to actually get ahead? You got to figure out a way to be a producer. That's why you see these fashion guys and all of this stuff that love clothes. What do they always end up doing? They always end up going and making their own clothes, because they like, man, I'm spending thousands on clothes. I could go spend the same couple thousand and go send the money out here and go get my own brand, and then I can be the producer. Then I can wear my own stuff. And I'm not saying that's what you have to do. I'm just giving y'all examples, and I'm giving y'all easy examples so that y'all can understand it better. But you got to figure out whether you want to be a consumer or you want to be a producer. I'd rather be the producer. I'd rather be the producer because y'all going to pay me. These companies going to pay me. They going to pay me because I'm the one that's producing. I'm the one that's creating. But if all you do is consume, buy, and you're never the seller, then you just stay over there. That's fine. There ain't nothing wrong with it. You know, that's that. I'm not telling y'all what to do. I'm just putting y'all on game. I'm just trying to put y'all on game. I'm trying to tell y'all what it really is. You either going to be a producer or you're going to be a consumer. And I'm telling you, most of the time, the consumers are the ones that are broke. Being a producer takes way more risk and way more work. Understand, 100%. You think doing content is easy? No. It may look easy. These people may make it look easy, but it takes time, it takes effort, it takes money, it takes all of that. So I'm not telling y'all that it's easier to be a producer, because it ain't. It's easier to just go ahead and be a consumer. But guess what? The producers are the ones that's going to get rich as a result of you being the buyer. And I'm not saying, again, I'm not sitting here saying you're never going to consume, because I'm going to consume, rich people consume, wealthy people consume, producers consume. But see, the thing is, you gotta be more intentional about the things that you do consume. And you have to produce more than you consume. But again, y'all do what y'all wanna do. I love y'all so much, and I'll see y'all in another one.